Have you ever felt like there just aren't enough hours in the day? Between work, personal projects, and trying to stay healthy, it can feel impossible to get everything done. In this video, I'm sharing my tried and true tips for making time for everything and actually sticking to a schedule without feeling overwhelmed. Right now, you can see today's chapters, all the things I want to cover in this video. It's going to be very useful and a lot of fun, so buckle up. The first thing I want to talk about is defining your priorities, because if you want to make time for everything, you actually need to know what this everything is. If you look at your life in terms of these 4 areas, work, personal projects, relationships, and health, you do have to identify what's important in each. Unfortunately, doing just everything without knowing if it's actually important to you means you have weak boundaries. And it probably means sooner or later you're gonna be exhausted. It often happens to people who help others a lot and they have a problem with saying no, and then slowly but surely they start feeling tired, like there is never enough hours in the day. And the bottom line reason for all of that is that they just don't understand what's truly important to them. And then based on what's truly important to them, they have to create boundaries to protect their personal space, their work, their relationships, and their health. I know right now this topic of discipline has been quite trendy. A lot of people say that relying on motivation is not reliable, which is true. You know, sometimes we don't have motivation to do a certain thing, but we still have to do it. Like if I wake up on Tuesday and I don't have any motivation to work, I still have to work. So I have to rely on discipline, on consistency to push through. However, a big part of discipline is your willpower. And our willpower actually drains at varying rates throughout the day. And it all depends on what activities you engage in. I remember in the past, I would only do things for other people, and by the end of the day, my willpower was so low. I could not find the discipline to make myself study Spanish or read a book or go to the gym. Your willpower is like a fuel tank, and I really want you to take the time necessary to recharge and to give back to yourself. This way you will be able to be more disciplined, stay more consistent, and eventually once you start taking action, find motivation in the process of doing what's truly important to you. Now let's move on to setting realistic goals, because if we want to stick to a schedule, our schedule has to be realistic. I know I struggle with it sometimes too. I open my weekly planner and I just put like 50 different tasks I need to do today. Is it realistic? Of course not. Am I going to accomplish every single task? No. And usually what happens in those moments is people feel very intimidated, and then they feel bad that they weren't able to accomplish everything because their goals were not realistic to begin with. And so obviously when people talk about realistic goals, people usually mean small goals, something achievable, something that you can break down. Like if I want to start being more active, it's going to be easier for me to go to the gym once a month. Right? It's a very realistic goal, just one time every single month. However, here I want to add another little layer to it. Thinking big. Do you actually only want to go to the gym once a month? If you really think about it, your answer is probably going to be no, because you probably want to go to the gym at least 3 times per week. And ideally for people like me, who sit in front of their computers all day, every single day, it's better to exercise and move our bodies every single day. It can be walking, it can be going to the gym or doing yoga or doing a quick workout at home. And so I think this notion of thinking big can really help you achieve success and your big goals faster. And together with setting small goals, you're gonna be moving in the right direction, staying true to yourself, and in time achieving extraordinary results. Success requires action, and action requires thought. That's why working on your mindset is so important, because what you think is what you believe and is what you do. And so basing your actions on thinking big in the first place will help you celebrate big achievements a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Before we dive into all the information about how to plan your schedule effectively, I want to share something that's been a game changer for me and staying consistent in my fitness routine. And that's trainwell, formerly known as Copilot Fitness. They offer personalized fitness plans tailored to your specific needs, schedule and available equipment, and they're kindly sponsoring today's video. As we talk about setting priorities and sticking to a schedule, it's so important to have a structured fitness routine because it can impact your overall well-being. That's where trainwell comes in. They pair you with a certified personal trainer who creates a customized workout plan based on your needs, goals, and experience, and any physical limitations you might have. I remember my first video chat with my personal trainer Alexis from Trainwell. We talked about my fitness goals like building strength and maintaining a consistent routine despite my busy schedule. A few months ago, I started bouldering and I wanted my gym workouts to help me make my upper body and my arms stronger. Alexis designed a plan that fit perfectly into my schedule. And the best part is, the trainer is always just a text away if you have any questions or need any adjustments. One of the biggest challenges I faced in my fitness journey is finding the motivation, the discipline, the willpower to stick to a workout plan. But with Trainwell, I found it to be so much easier because they plan everything for you. The app guides you step by step through your workouts, and your trainer checks in regularly to keep you on track. It's like having a personal fitness coach in your pocket, and it's all at a fraction of the cost of traditional in-person training. With Trainwell, I'm able to focus on small, consistent actions that lead to big results. I go to the gym 3 times per week now, not just once a week as I did before. I feel more confident in the gym, and all of my gains are translating to my bouldering practice. I can lift heavier weights now, and my body is getting stronger. So if you're ready to take your fitness journey to the next level, click the link in my description to get 14 days for free with your own personal trainer at Trainwell. I really hope this app will help you build a consistent fitness routine. Now let's move on to planning your schedule. To me personally, planning my work schedule, planning my everyday activities is extremely important. But I know that there are some people for whom it's just not important. They kind of like living in this state of chaos, and they can achieve a lot of things this way. So if you don't like all of these lists and planners, it's absolutely okay. Find what works for you. Even though I like using planners and calendars, I always allow for some flexibility to happen. What if one day I get sick? What if one day I have to help a friend or I have to do something else? It's important to stay flexible, because usually for people with rigid schedules or rigid boundaries, it's really hard to accommodate for the life around them and for the change in circumstances around them. So the way that I plan my day is actually very simple. I have 2 pages on Notion. The first one is called my weekly planner, where I just have my week at a glance from Monday to Sunday. I normally work from Monday to Friday, so I don't even look at Saturday and Sunday. And so I just, open Monday, let's say, and I plan everything I have to accomplish. And when it's done, I click done and I cross it off my list. I also really like tracking my habits, and because of that, I have my habit tracker page on Notion. It allows me to track all of my habits, make sure I'm staying consistent, and also notice which habits are actually hard for me to build. Because when I'm just beginning a new habit, it's usually extremely hard to stay consistent. Over time, of course, it becomes easier and easier. Again, even in my habits, I allow for some flexibility to happen. Sometimes all I want to do is read 1, 2, 3 pages of a book. Sometimes I read 50. So I don't really track how many pages I have to read every single day, or sometimes I just don't have time to read a book, which is absolutely okay. I think for me, this habit tracker page is just a reminder for me to check in with myself and answer this question in an honest way. Am I happy with my current habits? Would I like to change anything? Would I like to be more consistent? Would I like to stop doing a specific habit? And I think it's just fun to look at this habit tracker on Notion that I've created. When you create your to-do list for a specific day, you might ask yourself this question: which item should I start working on first? or which item is actually important, because not all of the things on your to-do list are equally important. It is likely that only a few of them will have a profound impact, and these should be given the highest priority. That's also what people say about like really rich people out there. They attracted all of this wealth because of some key important decisions that they have made. It's all about this 80-20 rule, where 80% of your results come from 20% of the actions that you take, if those 20% are the right profound actions. I know that a lot of people also really like time blocking. I have tried it and I do not like it because it makes me feel like I'm in a box, because literally if I look at my calendar, like I see a lot of boxes. For some people, again, it works perfectly well. I don't like having very rigid boundaries when it comes to my schedule because I don't generally procrastinate when I work. When I work, I prefer to be focused. And so if I know that creating a thumbnail for my YouTube video will take me an hour, I'm gonna start working on that. But what if it takes me 30 minutes? What if it takes me an hour and 20 minutes? I like to have this flexibility because I'm deeply focused and I know that in the moment I don't actually waste any time. And now finally, let's talk about how you can actually stick to your schedule. I know it can be pretty hard to do sometimes. I personally believe that habits play a big role in sticking to a schedule. And yes, as I said before, habits are so much easier to maintain than to start. It's just a fact. It happens to a lot of people. It happens to me too. So once something becomes a habit, you can shift your discipline, your willpower to forming a new one, and then basically start building up new habits sequentially. Also, learning to set clear boundaries will help you sticking to a schedule. Not porous boundaries, not rigid boundaries, but clear personal boundaries. And boundaries also include social media and emails. A lot of people think that doing tons of things at once is the most productive use of their time. But this logic is so dead wrong. Multitasking does not equal productivity. If you want to be more focused when you work, I highly recommend the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. Multitasking is not good for productivity, and neither is being electronically connected all the time. For those of you guys who can't stop scrolling the feed on Instagram, who need to check all the new messages on WhatsApp, on Telegram, stop. Please stop. I know it might seem so harmless to keep social media tabs open on your browser or your email tab open, but the mere fact of seeing things pop up on your screen is enough to derail your focus and make you less productive. Again, even if you're not immediately addressing notifications, you get a notification, you see it pop up, you ignore it. But you saw it, you read it, you already gave a little bit of your attention to that notification, even if you didn't respond. And so ever after reading that book, I actually always turn on Do Not Disturb on my computer, on my phone, on all of my electronic devices when I work, when I study, because I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to see any notifications pop up because I know that I can't multitask and stay productive and be deeply focused. Learning to say no is extremely important too. You're hearing this from a person who used to have porous boundaries literally my whole life. I know it's hard to say no from time to time because we want to be helpful, but preserving your energy is so important. So learn how to say no to all the lower priority requests. Unfortunately, especially for women, it's hard. A lot of women tend to give so much, and as a result, will feel exhausted at the end. So girls, please understand that the root of self-care is setting clear boundaries and making sure other people follow through. Saying no to people does not have to be cold or selfish. You can always try to give them an alternative solution that doesn't require your assistance, or redirect them to someone else who could be more helpful. And finally, a big part of sticking to a schedule is looking back and thinking if the schedule is actually working for you, if you would like to change anything. Because again, please allow this flexibility. Life changes, you have different priorities, you have different goals, and so having this rigid schedule will not help you achieve those big goals that require big thinking. Now let's move on to the homework portion of this video, because I always say you absolutely have to take action to change your life. Take a few moments to reflect on this question. What do I want to be celebrating a year from now? And so write down 5 things. And don't just limit yourself to what's realistic in the small sense. think big and be specific and vivid in your descriptions. Instead of writing, I want to be healthier, you can write, I want to have completed a half marathon in my city. And remember that success requires action, and extraordinary results come from thinking big. And so make sure to also think about all the actions you can take to bring yourself closer to that big goal. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Use the link in my description to check out Trainwell and start working on your fitness journey. If you want to dive deeper into how you can truly take care of yourself beyond just a regular spa day, make sure to click right here and keep on watching. You'll learn why genuine self-care is more than just a trending buzzword. Thank you so much, and I'll see you there.